The Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada wraps up the 2019 season here on the historic course at Mont-Tremblant. Roman DeAngelis has already clinched the overall championship, but there are plenty of points and positions up for grabs in the final race of the season.
This has to be one of the most talented Porsche GT3 Canada lineups in quite some time.
There is absolutely no room for error at these speeds. That just showcases the talent that is on track today.
This group is fast and precise.
There is nothing better than to see a Porsche GT3 Cup car take to the track.
The variety of racetracks that the Porsche GT3 Cup Series visits spotlights the ability of these drivers. Welcome to the 50th anniversary of IMSA Racing. The 2019 Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada by Yokohama is at Circuit Mont-Tremblant for the 12th and final race of this season. I'm Dave Bradley, along with Daniel Morad, and Todd Lewis is trackside. Daniel, the Fall Classic here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant is always one of the biggest races in Canadian motorsport.
It's a great way to close out a busy season. The racetrack is packed with both participants and spectators.
Good look at 18-year-old Roman DeAngelis, who's running out of the Mark Motors Best Line stable. Yesterday, the Belle River, Ontario native locked up the Canadian Championship with his win.
With 11 races in the books, we'll now have to keep a close eye on the battle for second between Thompson and Kingsley, and the battle between Simeone and DeMeo for fifth.
DeAngelis will start second here today alongside Parker Thompson, who claimed pole. But yesterday, race 11 of the championship was contested in the wet, and the Porsche 911 GT3 Cup cars put their Yokohama wets to the test.
The Policaro cars of Kingsley and Simeone battled for second, while Michael DeMeo and Patrick Dussault battled further back.
Parker Thompson started last due to an infraction, and the Red Deer racer would carve his way up through this field, eventually coming home in fourth position.
You can see how tricky it is to drive these cars with the rear engine configuration, rear-wheel drive. I mean, 485 horsepower on a wet track, it's a lot to handle.
And you have to be ginger when you navigate the turns here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. Michael Levitas and Michael Fanton both driving for GTA-based dealerships, Downtown Porsche and Porsche Center North Toronto. They had a great dice for 7th place. But in the end, it was the man of the season, the number 79 of Roman DeAngelis, the 10th time this season on the Canadian Tour, taking home the checkered flag and the win.
Roman has been putting a dominant performance in all year long, but I have to say this is one of the most entertaining seasons to date. There's so much depth throughout the field. I mean, the level of competition is so high, it's just really exciting to watch.
Very true, and the series has visited a variety of tracks this season through 6 race weekends. We've been to 5 different tracks: Canadian Tire Motorsport Park, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Toronto, on the streets of Toronto, Road America, and now here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. There's the cars lined up here on the front straightaway. The engines have fired as we prepare the starts for the 45-minute timed race. There you see Parker Thompson roll off on pole. Look, the door is open on Roman DeAngelis' car.
Yeah, people don't realize how hot it actually is inside these race cars in a GT3 Cup car. It's 45 to 50 degrees Celsius.
Even with the engine in the back, you don't have the engine heat, but it still does get warm. You can't roll down the windows like you can in your street car. There is your front row, Parker Thompson, Roman DeAngelis. They'll make up the top starting spots. Row number 2 has Ethan Simeone and Patrick Dussault, driver of the 77. Row number 3 is Michael Fanton in the 14, Michael DeMeo in the 96. Back one more row to Michael Levitas in the 37. Jeff Kingsley starting all the way back in 8th here in the 16. Marco Cerrone has locked up the Masters Championship in the 88. He'll start alongside Perry Bortolotti. Sam Fellows driving the Gold Cup car in the 35. Sean McKaig in the 34. That's row 6. Row number 7 is Marte Harvey in the 08. Jean O'Day in the 67. And that is our field here today at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. But Daniel, let's talk a little bit about this circuit. I mean, it is unique as far as the other tracks we visit over the course of the 2019 campaign. What makes this one special?
Well, first of all, it's a new circuit for, I'd say, the majority of these drivers on the grid today, and not a lot of guys have come out testing with the noise limitations at this circuit. It is a beautiful area. You have the Mont-Tremblant village close by, and a lot of locals that are right along the edge of the track, but a lot of elevation change, very high-speed circuit, and not a lot of experience for these drivers around here.
A lot of history here, too. It opened in 1964, features 15 turns, so it's enough to challenge each and every one of these racers, including Sam Fellows, who's here to cut his racing teeth, just gain some more experience as he has done over the course of the season. The first winner here, Ludwig Heimbrath, back in 1965, drove his Cooper Ford 289 to victory in the 32-lap feature. We can tell you, too, the track record, a 1:16, set back in 2007 by Tristan Gormendi, driving a Panos DP01. That was a time.
Back around the time when I ran here in 2008.
It's been 7 years since the Porsche GT3 Cup Series has visited Mont-Tremblant. We do have to tip our hat to the boss here, Vince Logren and Keith Blatz. They've put together a wonderful facility, as we mentioned, and we're looking very much forward to this 45-minute timed race as the field doubles up. This working through Namuro Corner. Corner number 14 here on the track. One of the most famous turns here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. And it'll be one that will test these drivers over the course of this race. Riding on board with Michael DeMeo, here's Ethan Simeone. He'll carry an onboard camera here as well today in the Porsche Center Oakville GT3 Cup car. Looking for the green flag, and we're underway. Parker Thompson will lead them into turn number 1.
Great jump by Thompson. He got out in the lead, and that's exactly what he needed to do, keep Roman DeAngelis behind him.
You saw a good look at the elevation changes out of turn number 1. You go down a hill, now you're through the S's as you make your way through this circuit. Lush greenery alongside the track at pretty much every turn.
That's a great battle there. Perry Bortolotti and Michael Levitas side by side going through turn 7 here. It's a quick corner. You don't want to make a mistake there.
Riding on board your 2019 Masters champion in Marco Cerrone. We have a car off, and it's Perry Bortolotti in the Mark Motors number 84. Caught the grass, lost a number of positions, but stayed on course.
We'll have to check and see if his splitter is still on the car. There's a small black lip along the bottom edge of your front bumper, and that piece is so influential, especially at this high-speed circuit. It really adds a lot of front downforce.
And now you can see into the heavy braking. As the field bunches up, you can see the Porsche Center low zone, number 77 entry of Patrick Dussault. He's just ahead of the 96 of Michael DeMeo.
Yeah, DeMeo a little deep. Oh, and there it is. Kingsley up the inside. That's why he went a little deep. So Kingsley, he had a bad qualifying because the grid positions were set on fastest laps in the wet from the previous race yesterday. Kingsley, unfortunately, had a little bit of damage on the front. He lost that splitter in an incident on the first lap, and therefore couldn't set a fast lap. So he started all the way back in 8th, and now he's charging his way to the front.
And you can hear the problems before they even started. You saw a flash of the green car up along the top of your screen, and there's a big hit by the 08. That's Marte Harvey, the 35 of Sam Fellows, also involved. We stay under grain, and now a full course caution with 42 minutes left, and this is the reason why. Big damage to that McDonald's.
Really unfortunate, really unfortunate. Going through the first turn, it's so fast, and it's a blind entry. You can't see over that hill. On the TV screen, you can see the entire corner, but when you're sitting behind the wheel of these Porsche GT3 Cup cars, you're really low down. So, I mean, it looked like Harvey was in a spin, and Fellows was trying to avoid him. Just really, really unlucky for these two drivers because they were having a great run up until this point.
Now Harvey in the Porsche Prestige Montreal, back to entry the Porsche of London, number 35 of Sam Fellows, the only Gold Cup car here in the race. We'll ride on board with fellows and we'll see what happened. Could there have been something on the track?
It looks like, I mean, it's a really tough corner. Like I said, it's a blind entry and you can't see that exit curve. So cold tires, first lap, something was happening up ahead. I mean, I can't say because we're not on the track right now, but there could have very well been oil down.
The only reason I ask is because a couple cars had the same problem. We saw the flash. It was a green car that went through originally. I think it was one of the Mark Motors entries. He caught the gravel trap, and then the other two, unfortunately, caught tire wall.
Guess we'll have to investigate later on, but it's just one of those corners where you can just get caught out on the exit. Yeah, I saw it yesterday. Parker, he dropped a wheel on the exit of turn 1, and yeah, just saved it.
Well, Parker Thompson in control in the early going here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. Round number 12 of the Porsche GT3 Cup Championship from picturesque Mont-Tremblant is brought to you by Porsche and by Chopard. Still under caution for that Fellows Harvey crash. It's been a wonderful 3 days here at Mont-Tremblant. The city is in full fall mode. And Daniel, if you've never visited the Laurentian Mountain area, definitely put it on your list.
It is a lot of fun, especially in the village. There's a lot of activities for your kids, and my favorite is actually the luge, where you go down the hill in a little cart.
Yeah, the people, the backdrop, just a gorgeous place to visit. I think those mountains will be dusted in snow in the next couple of weeks. And Destination Porsche on display as well. It showcased the new 992 and the Taycan, as well as many of the Canadian Porsche dealers showing off their restoration projects. Even some Porsche owners were allowed to take their cars on the track. All in all, a great weekend put in by the Porsche Canada folks.
It's just a beautiful venue to come here and drive your car. It'd be nice to be out there right now, driving around some of these vintage Porsches, and I just really love the competition they hosted as well with the classic restoration.
And all the teams, of course, able to bring some of their customers here and show them what Porsche GT3 Cup racing is like in a beautiful venue. Unfortunately, for a couple of drivers, the day didn't end the way they would like to see it end. And for Sam Fellows, his family is here on his dad's birthday. Of course, Ron Fellows raced here a bunch in the 80s and 90s, was hoping for a much better showing than ending up on the back of a flatbed truck.
Yeah, definitely. Sam, he's so eager to improve, and I mean, if you know, he has one of the best drivers in his corner. You know, Ron Fellows is a legend of motorsport and has actually raced in the 944 Cup, so he's no stranger to the Porsche brand in the past, and he's running here in the 944 Cup as well. So I had a chance to speak with Sam and Ron, just try to give my perspective on the car. That is the same car I raced back in 2016, so just try to share my knowledge, whatever I had left of it, with Sam. And it's just unfortunate his race ended so early, because I really wanted to see how much he'd progressed throughout this race.
Was there any secrets you could pass along from the car that you had learned?
Well, to Sam, yes, but I'm not going to speak over the air. Are you kidding me? Those are valuable trade secrets.
Indeed. They pay big bucks to give up those secrets. We're still under caution. As you can see, the clock still ticking on this 45-minute timed race, and the field still trying to keep heat in those Yokohama tires as the cleanup crews do their job and get this track fit for racing once again. While we have this downtime, we'll take a quick break here from Circuit Mont-Tremblant. Welcome back to the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada by Yokohama. We're at Circuit Mont-Tremblant for the 12th and final race of the season. We can tell you the caution lights are off on the safety cars. The field prepares to go back to green. But before we do, let's take a look at the season that Roman DeAngelis has had And look at the stats from both sides of the border, in Canada and the U.S. 25 races, 20 wins. He's led 72% of all laps he's raced, and the youngest driver to win a GT3 Cup race. That happened a couple of years ago, back when he was just 16 years old.
It just seems like the only races Roman hasn't won are the ones where he's had issues.
That's true.
He's always out front.
You remember the first race of the year, though, he did not win here in the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada. Jeff Kingsley took the win, and that is the only race that anyone else has ever won so far in 2019 here in this series. So we'll see.
Yeah, he did start last and came through to fourth, so pretty impressive job still.
It was indeed very much a talented driver, as are a lot of the drivers in this field, but it'll be a single file restart as you see the safety car heading for pit lane. Parker Thompson continues in control. He has Roman DeAngelis taking a peek as we work through turn 14 on to turn number 15, and that's where we will see the green flag. We're back underway. 30 minutes left now in this final race of the season.
Parker stacked them all up. Didn't really get a great start, but yeah, Roman's still there. He's sniffing at the back bumper of Thompson.
How about the driver in third place in the Liqui number 40, Ethan Simeone, having a great weekend out here today and hanging on to a podium position. He has Patrick Dussault in his back bumper, though.
Yeah, well, in race one of the weekend in the wet, first time racing in the wet for Ethan Simeone, finished P2 right behind Roman DeAngelis and was actually managing his pace. They were going blow for blow lap time wise, and in the end Ethan had to settle for second, but you can see he's under a lot of pressure from Dussault behind. He has to defend into turn 8.
A solid defending move there as Dussault tried to move around the number 40 of Simeone, so we ride just behind that battle in the 96 of Michael DeMeo, the open road racing entry. There's your leader in Parker Thompson giving chase to Mark Motors, number 79 of Roman DeAngelis. There's that battle for third. Porsche Center low zone, number 77 of Patrick Dussault, turning up the pressure. Maybe a little contact in the bridge turn.
Yeah, you go uphill there, the car gets really light at the apex, so Dussault right under the rear bumper of Simeone, trying to get him a little light in the back and see if he can sniff his way by.
Into Namaro corner number 14. And then it's a quick downhill jaunt. 15 is a pretty wide open turn onto the front straightaway, and you can see DeAngelis is looking inside and outside, trying to get that run together as he turns up the pressure for the race lead.
And one thing we have to remember is Thompson in the wet was very quick, taking a lot of risks, and he put the fastest time of race number 1, which put him on pole position for race 2 here. In the dry, though, throughout the practice, he's back in 7th, 8th place, so he's definitely has
more problems. You saw a car off, and it looked like one of the Polycaro Motorsports entries. No, it wasn't. It was Jean O'Day in the 67. I saw a flash of white. I thought it was one of the Polycaro entries, but Jean O'Day off the track and in that tire wall. Again, that corner claims another one.
Yeah, it's tricky. I mean, like I said, you go up over a crest, the front of the car gets really light, the air goes underneath the front bumper, and you really have to do a good job positioning the car before you get over that crest so you don't run off the road on the exit, and that's exactly what it looks like happened to Jean O'Day.
O'Day running in the Masters Championship out of Quebec City, Quebec for Grand Times Hotel Motorsports, and that car is very much damaged after making contact with the tire wall. And again, a full course caution on the field here in the final race of the 2019 season for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada by Yokohama. So those drivers who are pressuring, you saw Dussault pressuring Simeone for third place. You saw DeAngelis pressuring Thompson for the race lead. They get a chance to back up, and those who are defending get a chance to back up and sort of reset themselves at this point.
Yeah, exactly. Everyone can go ahead and breathe again. But you can see Thompson weaving back and forth. The reason why they weave back and forth, you'll see under the safety car period, is to keep heat in these Yokohama tires. When you reduce your speed, the temperature, the tire temperature starts to go down, and you need these tires around 90 degrees Celsius, 90 to 100 degrees Celsius for them to be working at the correct, operating window. Otherwise, if they're too cold, they're just going to slide across the surface of the track.
Now, what about putting too many heat cycles in these Yokohama tires? Does that affect them?
Well, for sure. Today they start on brand new Yokohama slicks. They had a wet race 1. Of course, from qualifying into race 1, you have to start on your qualifying set of tires. In race 2, it's open choice. You can use any set of tires you want. So usually if you want to be competitive, you bolt on a new set of slicks and away they go.
So we'll see how these cautions will affect the Yokohama tires, but historically they've been very, very durable over the course of this 2019 campaign. The field once again lining up behind the safety car here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. We're under a full course caution for the second time this afternoon. The field chasing that man, Parker Thompson. He continues to be your leader. We continue under caution here at Circuit Mont-Tremblant. Dave Bradley along with Daniel Moradi in the booth. Todd Lewis is patrolling the paddock for us here this afternoon. We started today's race with 14 cars. We're now down to 11, and it's been all thanks to turn 3. That turn has taken its prey here today.
It certainly has, and also on the testing day on Thursday, we lost another car, Andrew Lenkov. He was a victim of the last corner, just dropped a wheel on the exit and into the pit separating wall, and that was the end of his weekend.
You see, there is really no room for error. You make a mistake, and this track will punish you, as Jean Audet has found out in the Grand Times Hotel number 67. One of the drivers, though, who is still out on track, and is always fun to be around. Driver, the 88 Mark Motors entry, is Marco Cerrone. Back in 2010 was the year he started racing Porsche GT3 Cup cars. In 2012, he was crowned the Platinum Champion in both the U.S. and Canada. He has been the backbone to the Mark Motors Best Line Racing Group. And again, a smiling, just a happy fellow when you walk around the paddock.
We call him the Italian James Bond. He loves that one.
He has 4 consecutive Masters Cup championships. He holds the most wins in the Master Division in the history of Porsche GT3 Cup driver. And again, he is your 2019 Masters Cup championship. 2 championships this year for Mark Motors. As we mentioned off the top of the show, Roman DeAngelis, the champion this year in the Platinum class. As the green flag waves once again, we're back underway.
Again, Thompson, not a great start. I mean, he's really waiting and trying to bunch that field up. You can go, when you have a safety car restart, you can go as soon as the safety car ducks into the pit lane. So Thompson obviously opted to take it nice and steady up to the start line.
Just before that caution, it was the 77 of Dussault who was pressuring Simeone. Now it's the 16 of Jeff Kingsley who's turning up the pressure on the 77 of Patrick Dussault. It's all a battle for a 3rd spot. Oh, here comes Dussault in the Porsche Center Lozo entry as he looks to the inside. But once again, that Porsche Center Oakville number 40 of Simeone does a little bit of defensive driving and holds on to 3rd spot.
You know, it really looks like Simeone is getting great drive from turn 3, 4, 5 on the exit. And Dussault is doing such a great job in those high-speed turn 6 and 7 section. I mean, that's what's really allowing him to get up on the rear bumper of Simeone into turn 8. But Ethan Simeone is doing a fantastic job defending and really doing all he needs, getting clean exits and not allowing them to dive down the inside.
Riding on board the Porsche Center North Toronto number 14 of Michael Fanton.
Got a little wide, broke a little bit too deep. Mike, obviously new to the series last year. 2018 was his first time ever racing in general, and he's doing an unbelievable job. He just has this amazing ability to learn and to apply everything he's being taught by his coaches and from these drivers around him, like we said at the top of the show, so much depth in this field. There's just a lot of talent to learn from.
Now he's very much a sponge, and he shows when he's on the racetrack as well. As we ride on board with another sponge, a young driver to this series, rookie this year, in the number 40, Simeone.
Yeah, a sponge because his hair. I mean, he definitely has recognizable hair. Great guy. Full disclosure, I work with Ethan.
I was gonna say.
I've been coaching him this year. It's his first year in the series, but I mean, I know firsthand he's done an amazing job. You know, from the beginning of the year, from where he started to where he is now, fighting for podiums on a regular basis. Road America, double podium finish out of a 38-car field. You know, round one here at Tremblant. P2 in the wet.
There he takes another defensive line to keep the 77 Patrick Dussault at bay. Now, we talked about the 40 of Simeone. The 77 of Patrick Dussault really wants a solid finish here. This track, Circuit Mont-Tremblant, was the place that Patrick Dussault decided, I want to do this for a living. I want to be a professional race car driver.
And he's doing a great job, and I'd say he's the most experienced driver around this circuit in the field, and you can see how comfortable he is. He's just trying to find his way by, but it is a very tricky circuit to overtake on. There's so many fast corners and not a lot of big braking opportunities.
Quick ride on board the 16 of Jeff Kingsley in the Porsche Center Oakville entry. Liqui Moly back Porsche GT3 Cup car, and Kingsley having a very good year as well. As we mentioned earlier, one of the only drivers to beat Roman DeAngelis this season. He sits third in U.S. Cup points as well, so he's having a great run down stateside in the GT3 Cup cars as well this year.
Yeah, Jeff has done a great job. He's also working within the Polycara Motorsport team. Ethan and Jeff are teammates, of course, as you can tell by the Liqui Moly livery. And Jeff is just a very level-headed guy, very professional, and he has great hair, I have to say.
He does have great hair. If you follow his Instagram, you will notice his hair is never out of place.
Oh, I know his hair routines very well now.
Although the pack is getting tighter at the front of the field, Parker Thompson now leading Roman DeAngelis by less than half a second. DeAngelis thought about taking a look there, but Parker Thompson will hang on. It's not really a great spot to make an attempt at a pass. Better under braking as they work through the bridge turn.
Yeah, there's a lot of different lines you might notice here. Because of the nature of the circuit, there's a lot of combination corners. So one corner links into the other. There's compromises to be made. So, you know, here, for instance, you want to hold the exit, but some tend to let the car drift out a little more. But for that turn 15, that last kink, you see there's a little bit of a lift there. You can hear it on Roman's throttle application. You know, depending on how, you know, basically how much you let the car release off of turn 14 will dictate how much you have to lift for turn 15.
If you're Roman DeAngelis, you're sitting there in second, are you getting frustrated at this point?
Well, I think Roman has the pace advantage. You can clearly see it. He's following, you know, right on the rear bumper of Thompson. And like I said earlier, Thompson hasn't been quick in dry conditions all weekend. He's been back 7th, 8th quickest in terms of lap time. So you can see he's holding this whole train up behind him, and he's allowing an opportunity all the way back to P5.
Nobody asks if it's pretty at the end of the day, whether or not you got your win by outpacing the field by miles or not. Parker Thompson doing everything he needs to do to stay out in front of the hungry 18-year-old in Roman DeAngelis.
You can see Roman just sizing him up, takes a look down the inside. I mean, he's really quick. Roman's all over him. To me, it looks like he's just biding his time. Like, I feel like he has this under control, but like I said, it's very difficult to overtake. And Thompson's doing a great job. He's doing everything he needs to do, positioning his car in the right part of the track, getting nice, clean exits, so he has, you know, the maximum amount of speed down the straight.
And we talked about a number of other rookie drivers this year, and there's the mistake that Roman DeAngelis was looking for. Oh, that got close. Now into turn 15, and Thompson will maintain the lead, but can easily forget that Parker Thompson was a rookie coming into this season in closed cockpit, full-fendered race cars after coming from the open wheel ranks. He's doing a great job.
He's doing a great job for sure. It's a transition, I can tell you. I mean, I've done the open wheel to GT transition with a 4-year break in between, so that kind of helped a little bit, but depends how you look at it. But, you know, Thompson, he's very experienced. One of the most experienced in the field. He has 5 or 6 years of open wheel racing in the another development series. And yeah, it's very tricky. You know, they're challenging cars, but very rewarding cars. If you can drive a Porsche GT3 Cup car quick, you can move up to any level and drive it quick. You know, look at Zach Robichon, look at Scott Hargrove, myself now as well, all coming from the series. Exactly.
Number of drivers there. You see a good battle way back in 7th spot. There's Marco Cerrone in the 88. He's chasing Michael Levitas in the 37 as we ride on board the Mark Motors entry of Cerrone. Dropping the gears into turn 10, now into turn number 11. This is where they head up to that bridge turn. It's a tricky corner. A blind apex.
And a great spot to watch, actually, as well. You can see the spectators on both sides of the bridge. Just an unbelievable turnout here this weekend. It's really, really nice to see for this series.
Yeah, it really is. And usually those tricky corners are a good place to watch because the probability of a driver making a mistake and that leading to a pass is fairly high. But look at how tightly bunched the top 5 is now at the front of the field. Parker Thompson not looking at his mirror. He's focused up front because he is your race leader. Welcome back to the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada by Yokohama. We're at Circuit Mont-Tremblant for the 12th and final race of the 2019 season, and we have a battle at the front. Roman DeAngelis all over now to the inside. In the bridge turn, they're side by side, Parker Thompson and Roman DeAngelis.
Oh, really, really close racing. Roman almost had it, but very, very fair. Parker completely sideways. This is unbelievable racing. Side by side, very, very fair racing. They both gave each other enough room.
Enough room, no touching. Now they're drag racing down the front straightaway. They'll be side by side into turn number 1. DeAngelis up on the outside, and look at Ethan Simeone. The 77 of Dussault is in there. Everybody smells blood in the water.
Wow, this is getting tight. All the way back to Jeff Kingsley and P5, just, I mean, they're nose to tail. You can't put a piece of paper between these guys.
One mistake, and this is going to shake up the top 5 like a pepper mill here today as you see Kingsley now taking a look on the Porsche Center low zone number 77 of Patrick Dussault. Still, your race leader is a man from Red Deer, Alberta, in the Porsche Center, Victoria number 3. That is Parker Thompson, the Mark Motors entry, the 79 of your 2019 series champion, 18-year-old Roman DeAngelis from Bell River, Ontario, is in the draft, but can he make that move? So Thompson made the mistake. He looked like he got flustered, but he really has regained composure and has kept the 79 at bay once again.
Yeah, he had a few moments there where, I mean, maybe he was sweating a little bit more than normal, but yeah, he has gathered it back up now, has kept his composure, and looks like he's still keeping out in front, but he's braking a little late there. It's a tricky corner. You go up over a rise and you just lose all the weight in these Yokohama tires, so it's an easy thing to do. But, I mean, all Parker's doing is trying to brake as late as possible, not allow Roman to get any opportunity to sneak down the inside.
He's trying to get every single little bit out of that Porsche GT3 Cup car that's underneath him, and he's managed to do so for the majority of this event. He started on pole, and Parker Thompson has led every single lap since, but it hasn't been easy.
He has had a mirror full of not just one car, but 4 other cars behind him. And, give him credit. He's doing a great job holding these guys behind. He's, making very, very few mistakes. And when he has made the mistake, he's gathered it back up and gotten back on track.
And with racing like this, we should say a big hearty congratulations to Porsche Canada Motorsport manager Daniel Ponzini on a very successful first season. He's brought in a number of new things over the course of 2019, including Porsche Works driver Kevin Estre to coach and act as a mentor for any one of these drivers.
Yeah, it's awesome. I just think back to when I ran in the championship in 2016, and it's just come such a long way since then. You have the mentorship from a world champion driver and Le Mans winner Kevin Estre. It's just unbelievable. You can bounce ideas off of him. Not everyone has the I guess the luxury of having a personal coach, so it is really nice to have that driver to lean on.
You can see all these drivers figuring out different lines. Once again, Thompson, that almost looks like it's a line that works for him. He's way up on the outside in Amaro corner, turn number 14, and he's able to keep the 79 at bay because he has that extra momentum going down into turn number 15.
Yeah, he's just completely driving in his mirrors right now. There's only 6 minutes to go, so all he sees is number 79 behind him, and really big, bold letters right now, or numbers.
Yeah, and just a little bit more than a 1/10 of a second separating those two drivers as they crossed the line the last time by. Let's ride on board with Roman DeAngelis.
One thing we don't ever really talk about, and they don't get enough credit, are the teams behind all of these Porsche dealerships. You can see, the Mark Motors, the Porsche Center Victoria, Porsche Center Oakville. You see all these dealerships on the side of the cars, but you don't really hear the team names like Bestline Auto, Policaro Motorsport, FAF Motorsports, GT Racing. There are so many teams and hardworking members of these teams, as you see Thompson lock up there, but there's just so many hardworking members. And they're just putting in day and night, hours, and they don't complain. They just love this. This is motorsport. They love it. They live for it.
Yeah, they love coming, see how hard they can push these Porsche GT3 Cup cars. And look at how hard Parker Thompson was pushing his.
Yeah, big lockup on that front right Yokohama tire. That's going to hurt him. He's going to have to take care of that for the last few minutes of this race.
Now, because he did that once, will that mean it creates a flat spot, and that's going to be problematic for the final portion of this race?
Exactly. Well, these are such soft tires. They're racing tires. They're not designed to last you 15,000 kilometers. They do a 45-minute race, and then you put on a new set of tires. So, they're so soft. Think about it. If the tire stops rotating at 250 kilometers an hour, it doesn't take long before there is a flat spot in that rubber.
There you can see DeAngelis closing up once again. He is the hunter. Parker Thompson is the prey. We'll be back to the Fall Classic at Mont-Tremblant. It really has been one of those years for 18-year-old Roman DeAngelis. Today at Circuit Mont-Tremblant, the next Canadian rising star on the road racing scene has shown exactly why he's your 2019 champion.
Yeah, he's just had a nearly perfect year. Aside from the opening round of the championship, he's been faultless ever since, winning every single race.
He's had his hands full here today. He started on the outside of the front row, but he's been dogging the number 3 of Parker Thompson every single lap of this race, as it now is a 3-car breakaway from the rest of the field.
Yeah, Roman, he has had the pace. Every session on track, he's been the pace setter this weekend. Really, really dominant performance all the way through the dry practice and even through the wet race. He hasn't put a wheel wrong.
If you catch up with him in the paddock, too, he's the tall man with the bright red hair with a huge smile on his face. Now working the outside. Can he make this work? It looks like he'll have the opportunity. And the preferred line, Roman DeAngelis, now through to the race lead.
Really, really great move. That was well thought out. Honestly, I mean, it was smart. You know, Parker was covering the inside. He knew he had to protect that front right corner and not break too late to flat spot it again. And he just took advantage of the outside, which became the inside at turn 11.
How much do you think Parker Thompson, this Porsche Center Victoria #3, has left in the tank to catch the 79? That's the big question now.
I don't think he has much, to be honest. You could see he was just being pressured from the moment the green flag dropped, and now Simeone's all over the back bumper. He's going to have an opportunity here.
Now, so Thompson, who is playing defense since essentially the drop of the green flag, will have to continue playing that role with Simeone in the Porsche Center Oakville #40 all over the back of the 3. This now a battle for second as DeAngelis, the man from Bell River, Ontario, starts to stretch that gap here in the Laurentian Mountains in Cerrone, Mont-Tremblant.
One thing in the background I just caught is Jeff Kingsley back. Well, he actually just made it through on Dussault, so Jeff Kingsley up to 4th place now, and Dussault back to 5th. But there's a big gap there between Simeone and Kingsley.
And the goal of Parker Thompson to stay ahead of Kingsley. He's trying to maintain that point standing that he came into this race on. He was sitting 2nd in points. He needs to preserve that championship position. So if you look back just a little bit, now Simeone is sitting in 3rd spot, battling with the 96 of Michael DeMeo in the points championship. DeMeo and Simeone battling for the 5th spot in the championship. So as we watch the race, there's a big picture that we're also following here this afternoon.
And Simeone's doing a great job right now because he's out in 3rd place, looking for 2nd. I mean, he's hungry. I don't think he's thinking about points at this point. He's just going for everything he can. He wants that 2nd place on the podium.
So now you can see the gap, and now you can see the white flag. There will be one final lap here in 2019 for the Porsche GT3 Cup Challenge Canada by Yokohama. Roman DeAngelis is your race leader. He's only missed once in 2019, missed the top step of the podium in 2019. The battle we're watching on track, though, can young Ethan Simeone best the 3 of Parker Thompson for 2nd spot.
He's really going to have to push hard through turns 7 and 8. I think his best opportunity is going to be where Roman had his chance to go by Parker. I mean, he really has to protect that front right tire. You can see he's sliding in. He had a little lockup, lost the back of the car. Ethan's going to have an opportunity here.
Simeone watched how Roman DeAngelis did it. Will he try the same here in turn 10? No, he looks to the inside and gets up to the tire of Thompson. Can't make it stick.
It's a great attempt, really, really late on the brakes. Thompson also did a great job not to lock up that front right tire. I mean, we saw earlier he had a big lockup, and Ethan, he just pushed right to the limit. And credit to both drivers. They didn't hit, they didn't touch, and there's Roman round in the last corner.
In through Namuro, now through turn number 15, Roman DeAngelis will see the checkered flag one more time here in 2019. The win goes to Roman DeAngelis, followed by Parker Thompson in the 3, and Ethan Simeone just in behind, rounding out the final step of the podium.
And what a season by Roman. Look how happy he is. I mean, you can see every race means something to him, and that's also equaling the series best record of 11 out of 12 wins from last year with Zach Robichon.
Just a wonderful season for the driver at the Mark Motors Racing Stable. And where does Roman DeAngelis go from here?
I mean, he goes up. I mean, there's no other way for him to go. He's just displayed unbelievable talent this year. Great head on his shoulders. Really, really top-notch driver.
When we return, we'll talk with your race winner, Roman DeAngelis. It's been nearly a perfect season for the driver of the 79, Roman DeAngelis, and he proved that again today. Why he has stepped so many times on the top step of the podium.
I know he's been dying to do these donuts all season long.
And he does them with style. Let's now send it down to Todd.
Roman DeAngelis, yeah, we've become used to saying winner once again, a champion. Now, you had to work for that one to keep this streak alive.
Yeah, it's difficult here with all the high-speed stuff. You lose a lot of front aero, so it was a bit difficult. But I kept asking how much time was left. I knew when I was going to at least try to attack, so we made it work in the end. Led him into a few mistakes in the beginning, but he did a really good job. It was a lot of fun racing with Parker today. We've had a few good battles all year, so I just can't thank Mark Motors enough because the last 3 years have been awesome. And, you know, we finished off with the Platinum Championship. It's pretty cool, so.
Roman DeAngelis, winner again. Congratulations on a championship.
And he'll be able to collect his Chopard watch. He talked about Mark Motors. The last 2 seasons, they've only lost once.
Yeah, they have done a great job. Really, really dominant performance, and you can see Roman DeAngelis there at the top to just reinforce how good of a season they have had.
Good runs by Jeff Kingsley, and there you see a couple of drivers who had some problems. Sean McCaig in this one, no problems, but coming home in 11th position. One driver looks so strong today. The only driver in the field from out west is standing by with Todd.
Parker, you did your best to try to capture that victory today, and it just slipped away from you at the end.
Yeah, you know what? When you're points racing, you got to be careful. Obviously, Roman took the championship yesterday. He had nothing to lose by getting pretty aggressive with me, and I had a lot to lose. We started on pole, and I needed to finish ahead of Jeff today in order to claim second in the championship, which is huge for Team SCB Racing in my first year. So I had to do what I do to bring the car home. But it was nice to give Roman a run for his money. Finally, I think I led the most laps by far. He only led a couple, but he led the most important ones. So we'll see about next year.
Congratulations, well done.
Thank you very much.
Parker Thompson, good solid 2019 campaign. And as a matter of fact, on the strength of that second place finish, he manages to hold on to second place in the points championship.
A really, really solid last 2 races of the year for Parker, just to jump ahead of Jeff.
And we should mention, too, that Ethan Simeone managed to hold off Michael DeMeo in that battle for 5th in points. But 2019 has belonged to the man from Bell River, Ontario. Roman DeAngelis has been nearly unstoppable.
He's turned some heads in a really, really positive way, and you'll be seeing a lot more of this guy in the future.
Just how good? 11 of 12 races in Canada, 22 out of 26 races, whether he started in Canada or the U.S. That has been the season of Roman DeAngelis. He's had a lot of champagne poured on his driving suits. There you see Kevin Estray handing over the hardware here today as Roman DeAngelis takes his step at the top of the podium here in Mont-Tremblant. We crowned another champion here today. Let's head down to Todd, who's standing by with the driver of the 88.
Marco Cerrone, you are the Masters champion one again. How good does it feel to get that clinched here at Mont-Tremblant as well?
Oh, this is fantastic to clinch it here in such a beautiful environment. I mean, look at the day we have today. Town is so beautiful. The racetrack is just probably one of the best I've ever been to. And we were here back in 2012, and I remember having so much fun. And when it was on the schedule, I said, wow, that's going to be such a treat for us. And it's truly wonderful to be here. And thanks to Porsche Cars Canada and everybody at IMSA who was involved. Thanks for bringing it here. It's fantastic.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, big congratulations to Marco Cerrone on his Masters Championship. The Porsche GT3 Cup Championship finale from Mont-Tremblant is brought to you by Porsche and by Chopard. And there you see Marco Cerrone on the top step of the Masters podium here today. This race featured a little bit of everything, though. Right from the drop of the green, it was a dogfight at the front of the field. You saw the 2 Policaro Motorsports entries work their way up through the field. Some drivers, though, had bad luck early.
And then Roman DeAngelis with the move of the race around the outside of Parker Thompson.
He tried it a number of times in a number of different ways, but that was the pass that stuck for Roman DeAngelis. He held on from there and took the checkered flag once again, the 11th time in 2019. Celebrating inside the cockpit, now celebrating with his Mark Motors team. From all of us here at TSN, we thank you for joining us in 2019.